You know, friendly, but not somebody you want to take home to mom as your date, for sure.
No.
Let's go up and skip ahead a little bit here. You know, you've been in enough bands to know that they all don't work out, but you've managed to stay working at the top level for a long time. After, you know, getting through all of that, you hooked up with Rob Zombie for 8 years. Talk about that.
Well, there's a little bit of a transition, you know, like in 1988, because like I said, we were all in high school, right? We went, I literally graduated high school in 1988, got in a van the next day and went on tour. We toured across the US, came back, and on the drive home from the last gig, we're all kind of like, you know, I think this is over, you know? And like, we got home and literally everyone was like, oh, okay, peace out, you know? And like, one guy went and got married, like another guy moved up north, like another guy like went to college, and I was like, fuck this, I'm still living the rock and roll dream, you know? I'm gonna chase this for as long as I can, you know? And so from that point, I joined I was in a band, and we did the LA thing, the born and raised in LA, we did the LA thing, like the club circuit and stuff. And ended up getting like a record deal in the 90s. And we were one of those bands that got a major label deal, spent way too much money, and got dropped like 3 months later, you know?
Sure.
But it was a good experience just to kind of roll through that. And in that experience, we met with some managers and stuff, because we had the major label deal, and like, oh, we got to meet with managers. So I don't even remember who the other managers we were, but then we met Walter O'Brien and Andy Gould. And they were the Piranha Brothers at that time, and Walter managed Pantera, and Andy managed White Zombie, who were the king shit metal bands at the time. And it was like, of course we're having these dudes manage us. You know, it was like not even a question. And like I said, you know, we did that thing. We did a couple of gigs with White Zombie and whatnot. But
what was the name of the band then?
So the band was called Drown.
Drown, got
Yep. And Michael Alago, he signed us. We were signed to Elektra Records. Like I said, it was a very, very brief time. But in that time, I met Walter and his whole crew. I met Andy and his whole crew. You know, like I said, we did a couple of gigs with those bands. So then what that led into after that was I joined a band called Prong that was also managed by Walter O'Brien, and those guys were still rolling. Prong was my first real taste of being a hired gun guy, but being in a tour bus. Yeah, getting on a plane and going to Japan and going to Europe and
somebody handing you your ticket instead of saying you're driving.
Right, exactly. You know, like you're sleeping on the bench in the back or on the floor or whatever. You know, so we do like Pukkel Pop and Pink Pop and do these European festivals, and you're playing in front of thousands of people and stuff, and so you go, oh man, like this is really awesome. That was equally short-lived, but it gave me that next level of taste of what I wanted to do. From there, briefly was in Danzig for a very short amount of time, and then that led into joining Rob Zombie's band. And this is one of those things that maybe people can take out of it. It's like, man, it is who you know, and it is the relationship.
Yeah, you remind me of something that we talk about here a lot, and I think it's easier for people to imagine somebody like me, a manager, going out and networking, right, and going out and hanging out and doing the dog or whatever. But for working musicians, networking is just as important, and you sound like you were living proof of that. And friend of band is a good place to be. Yeah,
I mean, it's coming from the guy that was in his own bands to then transitioning into the hired gun thing. Now, I did say to someone at that time, you know what? I'm done with playing in my own bands. I think I just want to play for other people's bands. It's a very easy thing to say, but not a very easy thing to really make a reality. Fortunately for me, it was a reality, and the only thing that I can pull out of that is networking, building those relationships, because people ask me like, what's the secret? You know what the secret is? It's like what you don't understand. The hour that you're on stage, or half an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, that's not the important part. It's the other 23 hours of the day. If no one can stand you because you're a raging asshole or a drug addict or whatever for 23 hours a day, it doesn't matter how good you are for the hour on stage. It's like people want to have someone cool in their band. And so that relationship, the previous relationship built over the course of time got me that Rob Zombie meeting, that he was kind of like, dude, are you like cool with like, you know, like looking crazy and lighting yourself on fire and fucking all that shit or whatever? And I go, yeah, dude, whatever. You know, it's better than selling fucking shoes.
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I love it. And by the way, for all you folks that are watching, you know, I hear this, I'm smiling because this is what being a professional musician is about. It's about playing and doing it for a living. And so I just love hearing people's stories when they've actually managed to do that.